Hi,
Hello,
I'm Julian.
I am Tom.
We are Team Binge. We are here to talk about Silo, Season 2, Episode 10, the finale. It's called
Mm.
Into the Fire. Is that how you open hatches? Is that what you say? Why was your. Wait, am I hi and you're hello? Why was that so strange? Where did that come from?
I don't know, man. Gotta mix it up. It's the season finale. Nothing's as it seems.
Listen, I love the energy you're bringing as one that's been to another silo and shown back up and cleaned and then got through the hatch. So we're back. My faith has been restored in this show. I did very much enjoy this finale. I've only had about 20 minutes to digest it, so we'll see how that all goes. And I have a ton of questions. But Tom, I enjoyed it. What'd you think?
I couldn't agree more, man. Knowing what was gonna happen in the books, I wasn't sure what route they would go or how they'd get to some of these beats, but I think the way they executed it was very well done. There still are quite a few changes from the books, and again, I'm just speaking probably to book people at this point, but it's interesting where they're going to go with some of these changes, like because where the characters are at the end of the first book is quite different for a handful of them than where they left people now. So not to say that's bad, but it's just a little bit different. But overall, super fun. We got the things moving. I would argue we got a little bit more of like Solo or Jimmy's character and his backstory, which I think was needed a lot earlier in this season, as opposed to spending so much time with the mechanical people, like spending more time with Juliet, letting her kind of cook. I think would have been a little bit more fun, but fun ending. Loved the jump to like modern times. That was a super fun little twist, and I'm excited to talk through that with you.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That was a fun little twist that made total sense, and I don't have any questions about. But I agree with you. Watching this episode, there are some times Rebecca Ferguson cooks, and you're just like, yeah, we could have used more of that. She's like
Mm-hmm.
lecturing people and shouting at the sky. And I was like, oh, she's so good. And then just the small moments with her and Solo. I mean, very
Yeah.
sweet for a show that I don't know that I've had a lot of emotional reaction to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to refer to him as Solo. I know his real name is Jimmy, but just for the record, so we don't get our sound guy, hey Jimmy, mixed up, we will refer to
They
him
do
as
that in the
Solo.
books too, because like Juliet starts calling him Jim, and he's like, I don't like you calling me Jimmy. Call me
Nice,
Solo. He
nice.
prefers it.
All right, well, I also prefer it, so we'll stick with it. But let's dive into it. The recap, which I accidentally watched because this episode was an hour and 4 minutes and I didn't want to watch a minute more, let me know that we had ended the Pentultimate with the Safeguard algorithm voice as well as the Gunpowder Rebellion that
Mm-hmm.
was forming. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's where we start. We are going to talk Silo 17 first. And so this is Solo back in his homeroom, I guess. I get a little
Mm-hmm.
bit confused between where he was taught, like school, and then, but this is where he actually grew up. She keeps calling him Jimmy, and he is like, I just want to hang out and remember my parents. And his first memory of his parents that the show does is his parents arguing. And I cannot express enough how much this show is trying to show us relationships and how difficult they can be or how easy they can be if you're just
Mm-hmm.
reasonable people. I don't know.
They
I
seem to
thought
be
that
in
was funny.
stressful times. We don't really know when this conversation took place, but yeah, I agree. It was kind of funny just to have them go back and forth. I just want to say, like, really love the way this was all shot, where it shows him kind of putting his like lunchbox, whatever, back on the table, panning over to the mirror, and then like the other actors or the mom and dad like showing up, the lights kind of coming on. It was a super cool like one shot. I loved it.
It was shot very well. I agree. And then he has a moment where he's watching his parents and he says the line, "I'm younger or they're younger than me now."
Mm.
And having just watched No Country for Old Men, that's a like direct line from Tommy Lee Jones when he's like,
Nice.
"I'm the older man. My father was younger than me by 30 years." When he's talking about his dream. I just I bring this up because I want everyone to watch No Country for Old Men. That movie's incredible. The book is also incredible. Just I'm going to spend most of this finale just talking about No Country for Old Men. So
Excellent.
get ready. Anyways, Juliet's like, listen, I need to go. And Solo's like, hey, can I just kind of hang out here and vibe for a little while?
Mm-hmm.
But while I'm vibing, I'm going to conveniently pick up this card that says safeguard procedure. And I was like, all right, show. I hoped this wasn't going to be the whole episode, was people just stumbling on things written on cards. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to forgive it this moment for everything it gave us afterwards.
Yeah, because I think what they want to do was tell you enough about what the safeguard is without revealing it all. Because I think we have plenty of questions about what Lucas ultimately tells Bernard a little bit later, or what the algorithm told them. So I did think it was definitely a showism and kind of convenient that he happens to pick it up at the exact same moment or previous episode where we got this naming convention of the safeguard protocol. But yeah, it's fine.
I'm sorry, is it the protocol or the procedure?
I like protocol better, but I think it did say procedure.
Yeah, okay. I like them both too. All right, we have Eater. We learn her name is Hope, and so we
Yeah.
have Solo and Hope. Hope Solo. I think that's a person in the real world.
Nice.
And Solo's like, listen, I got to tell you, but she's too young to hear this. And this is like the development of Eater becoming an actual human in our eyes. So like Juliet's kind of talking her up, and you can see Juliet has a soft spot for her. Solo, on the other hand, would like to shout like random memories and try and remember things in Juliet's presence, not in someone else's. I found this he's like, I need to tell you something. And then all of a sudden he's like, I don't remember. And then he's just shouting. And I was like, all right, we'll give him, he's got some developmental things. We'll give him some time to figure this out. But a lot of shouting in this episode, which
Yeah,
always
I
for.
think, yeah, he eventually he has the thought that the safeguard is too volatile for everybody to know, and it's only Juliet should be aware if and when he can recall what's going on. Because he eventually talks about, yeah, you have to learn about the safeguard. It's going to save your silo, and like the parents help stop it. So Solo's parents, I guess, did something in that silo to prevent it.
Well, they apparently capped a pipe, which is what we found out later. And Tom, we've always been pro uncapping of pipes, I believe, you and I. We love
Yeah.
pipes running every which way with all sorts of things flowing through them. So obviously,
Tobacco.
what's that?
I was going to say tobacco. That's
Oh,
what it goes
sure.
in my
That's
pipe.
the type of pipe. I was thinking of some good old Permian crude, but you know, whatever. All right. So Solo's like, my dad told me they did something to make it safe outside. And I got confused because it feels like the pipe we then talk about is shooting things into the silo. How would that make things safe outside? Was he just trying to like be like, oh yeah, you guys should go outside. It's pretty cool out there. What was happening here?
Yeah, even as a book reader, I was a little bit confused with what they were trying to do, because I don't know if he's saying it's safe outside, or they did something to make it safe to go outside. Like they all had suits, or they all had something to make it safe. I don't really know where it was going with this, because Juliet clearly goes back and says, "Yeah, don't go outside. It's not safe." She had a note. Like I don't know what else he discovered with other than capping the pipe to avoid poison going into their entire silo.
I guess we can just chalk it up to maybe Solo is not the most reliable of narrators or information givers. So I'm not going to say it's sloppy TV writing. I'm just going to say it's based on Solo being a little bit confused sometimes.
There could be more to it, because I feel like they did this a lot in this episode where they kind of threw little nuggets to keep you interested or keep some of this mystery alive for season 3. So there could be more to that for sure.
Okay. They look at some schematics of what looks like a long pipe, and they talk about level 14. I don't feel like any of this pays off because I guess they can't do it in that silo, or it's already been done in that silo. So this is just information for Juliet when she goes back to 18, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like it's like, yeah, oh, we got to run to do this. And I don't understand why they were running to go there when they know there's nothing that they can do at this point. But I guess, yeah, they were trying to just do some reconnaissance for Juliet's silo 18.
I would like to point out that something this show does very well, and we should all do it more in our lives, is have rolled up big pieces of paper. I guess if you're like an architect or something, ignore this part that I'm talking about. For all of us people that aren't architects, there's something about rolling out a piece of paper and everyone looking at it. That's just, I mean, it plays on screen and it just is real. So I encourage everyone to do that more, and we get some of that later on with the old gunpowder rebellion.
We do.
I do. I don't know what it is and why it struck me, and maybe it didn't with you. I'm not opposed to swear words, Tom. Actually, I'm typically very pro swear words, especially on this podcast. Jimmy's got to get that censor button ready. He's got to be hot on it. This episode felt like whoever wrote it was like, listen, I'm going to put as many F words in there as possible. It was almost jarring. They were just, I don't know. Was I the only one that noticed this? Probably. But I thought it was strange.
Dude, it's a finale. Finale F words. You got to bring them in.
Oh, that's why it's called the finale.
The capital F.
Finale. All right. All right. I gotcha. Anyways, it turned me off to the whole show, and I won't be watching season 3. I've already written my senator from the great state of Georgia, 15th district, to get this show. I'm with the moral majority, and we will get this shut down.
He's just a congressman.
I made t-shirts. He's just a congressman.
He's not a senator.
All right. Yeah, sure. I know what government means. All right. So we have the Hunger Games gang hanging out. I don't care what their names are. I'm not going to learn them other than they forced me to learn Hope's name. Old Hope Eater over there. So the Hunger Games gang. Wow, I'll get it. They're hanging out, eating, listening to music. These people don't have a care in the world, it seems. That now that they've discovered this room, they're like, I mean, this is what happens when you give people music and food, Tom. They get lazy. We should take food and music from people and put them to work.
It seems like they didn't care or notice that the water levels were rising, because it seems like Solo was the only one concerned with trying to get this stopped. But
they had their swimming trunks on, Tom. They didn't. Okay. They were stoked. They were like, I'm ready to dive in, get a little swim in. There's like, what's a swim? I don't know. I agree. They seemed unconcerned. Solo and Juliet, as they're running around, they feel the explosion.
That's cool.
I have questions. We're in giant silos separated by, we'll say, hundreds of yards or hundreds of meters, depending on where you live. And this explosion blew out a staircase, but didn't blow the top off of the silo. I don't know. Did they feel every explosion? What about all the explosions that are happening in the mines, Tom? How are they ignoring all the mine explosions that are happening below them all the time in the mines?
True. I was gonna say, yeah, maybe they could feel this explosion, but didn't think about the mines. So you're right. This was silly, but it's just a way to kind of connect the two silos and the two stories before Juliet entrance to 18, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right, Juliet pulls out her suit, and Tom, it's in great working order. Everything's fine. It's not full of holes.
They got moths.
I appreciate Eater immediately being blamed, and I wanted her to be like, see, you ate holes into it, Eater. But that's not what she did. She's not as cruel as I am. But
She's going to try to tape it up. She was going to help.
Yeah, that's fair. Eater is very helpful. I mean, she did make the mess. But anyways, I enjoyed this moment. This was when Rebecca Ferguson went off, and she's like yelling at the sky, and she's very like loud and angry and telling people just to get along. And she's like, doesn't matter what you lost. This is what you have. Make it work. And it made me think, have I not watched enough things with Rebecca Ferguson in them? Because I enjoy her immensely.
Yeah, can never watch enough. I think she gives that line. It's like, be angry with each other, not at each other. Like, because essentially, yeah, you're all that each other have. It was a great speech.
Yeah, I didn't care for that one. I like being angry at people. I need something to direct my anger towards, Tom. I'm not going to just, be angry with people. That's mob mentality, and I don't rabble rouse. You know me.
Well, but what about your family motto?
We suffer silently. That's the family motto. Well, you suffer silently, but when you're angry, you're angry at people, but you suffer silently. Suffering is more of an internal pain. Anger is an outward expression of it. And
Gotcha.
I mean, now
Anger
you've got me
loudly,
all,
suffer silently. I got it.
now you've got me all fired up. I'm gonna go wake a kid up and yell at him. All right, I was confused why Solo took the suit and ran, but this was definitely the show just like putting us on edge, only for Solo to be a bad communicator and going and testing the suit in the water. He didn't have time to go, hey, I'm going to go test this for you. He had to steal it, run, and make us all wonder what was going on.
Yeah, now the suit's all wet, so it won't even the sticky tape won't even go to the suit anymore. So I would just be annoyed if I was Juliet. Now it's all wet.
Yeah, you'd be super cold, you'd be wet, the tape wouldn't stick. You've got a limited amount of the good tape, I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah, Solo's got plenty, I'm sure.
yeah. She should have just held him under the water and been like, does the suit work now? Once again, direct your anger at people. Juliet, before she leaves, gives the Hunger Hunger Games gang a little bit of a pep talk. And, it was nice, but I do like how everyone's like, you're coming back, right? And Juliet's like, I have no intention of coming back.
What a way that she tells the Hunger Games gang that she's like, yeah, maybe I'll try, or I'm not going to lie to you. But then when she has this kind of heartfelt moment with Solo here, which I thought was fantastic, she's like nothing's going to stop me from trying to get back.
Yeah, that's a good, like, I'm not going to, but listen, I'll put some effort into it.
Yeah.
They shot this in that red light as they're getting taped up. There was something about this episode. I believe they brought in like a professional TV director because like you pointed out, the memory shot and then this shot was all like almost cinematic. It's like they used professionals, but I thought this was a very sweet moment. So
Yeah.
we got to spend time with our heroes. We'll leave Juliet there and we'll enter Silo 18 where a lot is going on. And it all starts with Doc Daddy Doc. I love Ian Glenn. He's great. Like,
Yeah.
does anyone do like sad, weepy eyes, like old guy better? I don't think so.
Nobody does it better, and I'm so sad that we lost him.
Oh, we didn't see him go. He probably figured it out. I'm sure he's fine, Tom. Come on.
Yeah, you can't kill a major character off screen, so he's probably fine.
Yeah, no, he's definitely fine. Oh, speaking of killing main characters off screen, have you ever seen No Country for Old Men? It's incredible, Tom. All right, we have Knox, Shirley, and they're talking with Doc Daddy, and they're like, listen, Juliet is truly alive. We know it. And he's like, oh, I didn't want to believe it before, but now that you guys have told me, awesome. And they're like, we need you for one more thing. And he's like, what? And Knox looks directly in the camera and goes, war. Which
They should have put on sunglasses, and then like the music goes, wow.
Yeah. What is it good for? And I want to point out that we have given Shirley and Knox a little bit of guff during this season, mainly because we don't like them as characters. I felt this episode redeemed them completely. Like, they get some really cool moments, and maybe it's just me. I need them to be holding, I don't know, a hammer or a pipe and looking menacing to enjoy their characters. But I thought they were having a lot of fun in this episode, and I was too.
We spent the whole season like preparing them for this moment. So when they're finally able to kind of do what they do as like mechanical like ruffians, it was awesome. And yeah, I just wish that this season spent more time with Solo and Juliet than it did with Knox and Shirley.
Sure. Yeah, an equal amount or none at all. You know, that would have been fine too. I appreciate that you called them ruffians, so that lets us know what side you're on. Obviously, you would have been with Bernard and the Raiders trying to put people's freedoms down.
No, I'm with Sims. I'm playing both sides.
Smart. I'm the person in the cafeteria that's trying to just poison everyone. That's where I'm at. All right. So Lucas has returned from the algorithm, and they gave us a shot of him talking to the algorithm in the beginning. This shot is him on the tallest ladder. I thought about this ladder a lot. I was like, would you have to take breaks? Like, you wouldn't be hooked in. There's no safety harness. Like, you could get halfway up and be tired and cramp and just be like, this is where I go, and be like, Geronimo, all the way to the bottom. This ladder was insane to me.
Listen, I would argue he should have used this ladder to go down in the first place, but he was not getting up a rope. So, I mean, a ladder was a better shot.
They show us a scene where he looks at that ladder and the rope, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll do the rope," and then he goes down the rope. And then the next scene is when he needs to go up. He looks at the ladder and the rope, and he goes, "I'll use the ladder this time." It's just incredible point, Tom. It didn't even cross my mind, but yes, man, some real workarounds. Well, this ladder was to the mines, Tom, so he's familiar with this ladder.
Okay.
This is where this came in. The guy with the beard tries to stop him, and he kicks him in the groin. And I don't know if you saw it, but he kicked him in the groin, and the guy threw the badge to him. Like, it was almost comical. He kicked him, and then the badge landed in Lucas's hands, like his blue badge. And he was like, all right, that worked out.
Incredible. I think we find out later the guy's name is Randy. And poor Randy.
Poor Randy. Randy, the worst fate of anyone. He got kicked in the groin. All right. We have the rebellion meeting around the table. It's the generator plan. They're going to, I don't know, they need to get one small fighter to shoot at an exhaust port, which will then make the whole thing explode. It's the one design flaw. I don't know. Bernard's a smart guy. I couldn't believe he fell for this. This is like a crayon drawing, and it says generator plan at the top. And he almost unrolls it so the camera can see it. I'm pretty sure Knox looks at the camera multiple times. Not the like TV recording camera, but the camera that Bernard's looking at. This blew me away. I was like, oh man, these guys are terrible actors. These actors are being terrible at being actors. However that's supposed to go.
I'd be interested to know, like, the general audience. Obviously, we're podcasting and we're paying a lot more attention maybe than the general audience does, but they tried very hard in this scene and throughout the whole rebellion bit here that this is like a ploy or they're trying to trick Bernard because they don't really tell us until very, very late.
Well, they make it seem like they're actually getting arrested, that the rebellion went through. Yeah. And listen, Tom, there was a moment where I was like, oh, wait, did they really? Like, oh, these guys are dumb. And then I was like, there's no way. There's no way that's what the show is doing. She took a bag up to Bernard's, and that bag was very significant, we find out. But, yeah, so their plan that they want is they're going to blow up the generator, and he's like, we need 3 hours. What was the significance of the 3 hours? Was that just so everything could happen? I didn't understand the 3 hours.
I think he's a big Gilligan's Island fan and the 3 hour tours. Sure. I think he wanted to tie that in somehow. But I mean, if you need to blow up something, give me like 10 minutes. I can blow it up for you. I don't need 3 hours.
With that much gunpowder, you could. I mean, Doc Daddy proved you could blow something up in a matter of seconds. I mean, I don't know. Anyways, I didn't buy it, and then I did buy it, and then I didn't buy it again. So, the moment where they like zoom in on Bernard and he's like, excellent, I've got your plan. I was like, all right, show, calm down.
He takes the bait. Yeah. It doesn't matter what the audience thinks, but Bernard takes the bait.
Hook, line, and sinker. All right. The dude getting brutally murdered by the swinging large drum of paint, like Home Alone, that was rough and unexpected. I was like, all right, you can bring your F words, show, but please I don't want to watch that guy's body get demolished. I almost expected him to get up afterwards. The camera kind of lingered on his body, and then I was like, nah, he's definitely down for the count.
Well, when you talked about them like rolling out the map of the plan, like it made me think of like a Home Alone plan where he's writing what's going to all happen in here. But I'm like, well, they wouldn't have wrote this up because this killed somebody from Mechanical on their side. So rough.
Right. Well, Bernard saw the plan. He saw the swinging cans on it, and he was like, hey, Raiders, I've got an idea. Go put this. Like, don't the well, I guess Mechanical built the barricade or moved the barricade, so they have it locked on their side. I was very confused as to why we were swinging that paint around, but it was super cool. Not for that guy though. That guy
No.
was super lame, which he is now. And so Lucas gets arrested. He's just running upstairs. Lucas seems to have lost some joy. None of this is sparking joy in Lucas's eyes, which I'm assuming we'll discuss at the end of this as to what he's been told.
Yeah, I don't think he has hope like Eva does.
Right. He does not have Hope. Hope is in Silo 17. She's formerly known as Eater, so he wouldn't even know what Hope is. We have Knox and Shirley. They have weapons in hand, and when Knox has that giant hammer that he can barely hold, and he swings it around, and he goes, "Let's, Jimmy, beeping, go." I was like, awesome. That was dope. I don't know why, but like I hope the actor that plays Knox gets, I don't know, like one of the lame Marvel movies, and like Thor's poor cousin who doesn't get a magical hammer. He just has to carry around a big one, you know?
Yeah, there's something about using a sledgehammer and like dragging it behind you to like gain the momentum to then loop it around your head and then smash it down. It was absolutely incredible. But I do have one question here, right? Like, we've seen that these enforcer dudes have guns, yet they don't seem to bring any guns to this fight. Why?
Well, Tom, I don't know if you've ever seen The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises, where the police and the guys all fight in the street and everyone has guns, but they all decide to punch each other. Oh, you know what? It would make sense. I think Christopher Nolan, I think he did this episode, so that's why. I don't know, Tom. I don't know.
They have like one throwaway line, like when they're in the generator room, like, "Oh, there's gunpowder here, so we can't use our guns. We can't have sparks." But like, that was later, not where these people are now. But
Yeah,
whatever,
no,
it's fine.
No, you're giving the show too much credit. That's not why no one uses guns. They don't use guns because otherwise all of Mechanical would get murdered very quickly. So Billings gets arrested. Kennedy gets arrested. We're watching everyone get,
Pinched.
Yeah, no, I was going to say wrangled. That's what I'm looking for. Like cats, wrangling cats they are. And they're bringing them all to the tippy top. And I was like, oh, that's gonna matter. They're taking everyone to the top. Bernard's like, we got him. Restore comms. And his key's blinking. And he's like, yes, the world is great. And I am Bernard. And I was like, I don't think so. The moment where Sims and Camille talk about sending a message, who did they send a message to? What was that about?
I'm assuming they sent the message to like all the other people up top, like the other sheriffs that we know have been kind of that have been kind of lingering and not really following Bernard, like following his orders, but maybe were turnable. So
that's right. The woman who is the deputy that's in the holding cell area is like, we got your message. And I was like, oh, okay. I it's all clicking. I've got a really smart brain and it's all clicking.
But the Simpsons are still actively trying to, like, their end game is to get into the vault. Like, that's all they're trying to do right now.
Okay. I've got questions on that, like, but we can touch.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, I think the idea being if they're in the vault, then they are the de facto leaders now. I don't know.
Right. I don't know either. Maybe they saw what Scrooge McDuck would do in his vault, and they were like, we'd like to swim on gold coins. And then they dive in and break their neck because you can't swim on gold coins. So, all right. Everyone's locked up. We've got some Lucas and Shirley interaction where Shirley's like, you're not going to tell me what you found down there? I threw the rope. And Lucas is like, I climbed that rope, and it doesn't matter now. And this is like when Michael Scott knows the branch is closing and he's not allowed to tell anyone, but he just keeps muttering how the branch is closing, really telegraphing that it's all going to end. However, I don't feel like Shirley really picks up on his dismay.
Mm-hmm. I still don't really get, and I think you have in the outline here, like what he found. I mean, what's your thoughts about it here? Like, because he tells Bernard here in a little bit, but what is he not telling us? What's your thought?
Well, my thought is that they are all going to be killed in this silo because they're going to pump poison gas into it, and it really doesn't matter what they do. They're all eventually going to get exterminated. Now, I don't know if that's like they are currently sending the order to exterminate them, or yeah, I think he found out about, hey, they can pump poison gas into this silo and we can all die at any moment.
Yeah. But I get, yeah, that's the point though. Like, okay, he says he knows what the safeguard is. We find out the safeguard is the pumping of poison into the silo. But I would imagine this algorithm or whoever's talking to him said something else that says, like, hey, this is going to happen in an hour or something else. Because I don't know why he would feel so.
I don't know. They all walk so slow for people that found out they're going to die in an hour. Like, if I died an hour, I would Tom Cruise my way through that silo, finding everyone I didn't like just to let them know one last time that I was angry with them. You know?
Smart.
Something that's worth my last breath on earth to tell someone I don't like them. To be vindictive, Tom. That's the other house word. Okay. Patrick Kennedy. I was surprised at how much Patrick Kennedy played in this episode. I felt like he was kind of ancillary, but in this one, he takes the rebellion like a step further than the rebellion wanted to go, which I'm all for. I thought he was a great leader of men, and everyone should listen to him. He had the shelf ram idea. That was a great idea. He's telling everyone it's safe outside and that Juliet lives, and everyone just wants to open that door, you know?
Yeah, just get a bunch more rabble. And again, to your point about like the direction of this episode, I thought this was a really cool one shot where we got a lot of our main actors, just the camera panning from one set of characters to the next while they're all kind of in this jail area. It was pretty cool. But I think, yeah, like featuring Kennedy here, and they played it enough in previous episodes that he thinks it's safe when this rebellion's going on. He's taking it that next step further, and he wants people to leave, which then essentially creates fractions now in our rebellious crew.
Sure. There's always, listen, once one rebellion starts, that rebellion is more than likely going to split into two rebellions because people just can't get along. I don't know. It's probably because they're vindictive and angry. But we have that moment, which is all, I guess it's all a lie, but they meet Carla, who's in the cell. The Armidson's like, you can walk free, Walker, because you betrayed them. And then Carla gets mad at her. Carla's like, I hope you die. I hope you go out to clean.
Yeah,
Cold-blooded. Which is funny because later on when they meet, Carla's like, I always knew. And I was like, that is a weird apology. Like, no, both of you should apologize and say sorry. You did the other dirty in multiple ways. Like, don't be like, I always knew. The worst apology is I knew what was going on the whole time. I didn't mean it when I said you should go out and die.
Listen, I don't mean to jump ahead, but Carla just doesn't know the hand signals, so she just wasn't picking it up.
That's fair. She's like, why are these guys constantly looking like they're doing karate? All right, so the ploy, which it took me a little while to figure out, and the reason Doc Daddy, they're like, Doc Daddy, we're going to war. We're going to use our most like useful resource, a medical doctor, to carry this bomb up the stairs, which turns out to be Hank. I thought that was great. I was a little bit confused when the thing fell off the body. The show like made it tick, but too quiet for my old ears, so I had to rewind and figure it out. And that obviously comes into play a little while later when they find out that the timer mechanism isn't working. Dun, dun, dun. Or isn't around, I guess.
Yeah. We had to do that. They had one job to do. It's just tie these things together, and they couldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know, Tom. When you're wiring a bomb, you're probably like, you don't want to be around it all that long. So you're like, I'm going to do this real quick and get out of here. Everything's good, guys. I wired it right up. I'll be outside. See ya. Like, that's probably the level of work we're dealing with. All right. So this leads to Walker going up to visit Bernard. And once she had a bag, I was pretty sure she was in on the whole like secret rebellion thing, because I knew in that bag was something of importance. And I don't want to talk about it now, but when she dumps out what's in that bag, that was the most thrilling moment of the whole episode. She tells a story about the generator and hand signals. It's fun. We're going like back and forth between what's happening on the stairs. Doc Daddy discovers the timer's gone. We realize he's going to have to sacrifice himself. The body was Hank. Hank gives a very half-hearted, maybe I should be the one to set it off. And Doc Daddy's like, no, you go. And Hank's like, okay, cool. At least, remember that I did volunteer for a little while. Did you feel like Doc Daddy was ready to blow himself up a little quicker than you would be in this situation in terms of maybe there's some other options? Or is it just because the timing of it all, he feels like he needs to blow this at the exact moment? He gives his watch up too, so he doesn't even know when he's supposed to blow this bomb up.
Yeah, he gives his watch to Hank to then kind of give to Juliet. But yeah, I was super bummed about this. This is not in the books of him doing this like sacrifice. I think he's featured maybe a little bit more in the show, so they just needed like a heartfelt moment to kill a major character. But I mean, he's one of the best actors and characters I think in this show, so it's a bummer that we are losing him. But I couldn't agree more. Hank, sure, he's a little bit younger, but not probably as useful to the silo as a doctor, especially like a delivery doctor. So yeah, bummer to see Mr. Ian Glenn go.
I don't know. Give it a moment. Be like, hey, Hank, run down the stairs a little bit and see if you can find the timer. Like, let's take a moment. Or, I don't know, go ask a bomb maker if there's a better way to do this. Or just
throw a
don't
rock
blow
at
it.
Yeah.
Throw a rock at it. Throw one of those signal balls down the stairs and ask those, is there a question where you can throw a ball down to mechanical so they can answer it? I guess everyone's in the tippy top at this time, but... Anyways, yeah, it was sad to see him go. They really, I mean, he really took all the time in the world to put those two wires together. They zoom in on him. You're like, is he going to do it? And I think, listen, I don't think this is the last we've seen of him. I think he's going to show up. He's maybe going to have like a one arm, like it's going to be in a coat with it pinned. And they're going to be like, we can't believe you survived the blast. And he's going to be like, yep, I'm even stronger now.
I hope so.
I hope so too. The bomb not going off on time with Walker and the absolute delight of Bernard laughing. I found all of that very comical.
Oh, his line is like, "Oh, that was dramatic." Like, so good, and he like thinks he wins, just to have this slight delayed satisfaction for Walker. It was fun.
Great, yeah. Tim Robbins just having the time of his life in this role. I bet he went home every day after filming and was just like, you cannot. He went to, I think it's Susan Sarandon, and she's like, Susan Sarandon, wife, you won't believe what I did today. It was great. This leads to the moment, Tom. I thought Walker was going to have a bomb in her backpack or a gun or, I don't know, do something cool. Instead, she dumps the deputy badges all over the floor. If I was Bernard, I mean, he gets it because he's smart. I would have been like, oh, do you need me to help you pick those up? Is this some sort of game? Like, what are we doing here? Very confusing.
It was her mic drop moment, or badge drop moment. And because she had already told her or him like all this thing about, hey, I had hand signals. Like that should be the second that Bernard gets up and says, oh, you were not telling me the truth or you lied to me. That's probably when he should have gotten a little bit more panicky. But he doesn't get panicky until she drops the badges. Right.
This leads to all the deputies arresting the raiders. Oh, it's all been flipped now. Knox and Shirley are looking super cool as they've been released from jail. And we find out that all the raiders that are in the down deep are now stuck down there because they blew up the stairs. And the rebels are all in the tippy top running things.
Well, and they run to the tippy top, and again, this is still like 100 levels of jogging. I would imagine this would be a very tired group by the time they get up there.
Oh man, think of the calves and the glutes on those guys. Just incredible. All right, Lucas and Bernard meet briefly on the stairs, and Lucas is like, "I'm gonna tell you something, but if he hears it, we're all dead, or if it hears it, we're all dead." And the camera kind of shoots over someone's shoulder, and I believe it's Sims that's watching them.
Yeah, you see Sims like in the background while they're kind of having that classic like movie or showism where they're whispering in the ear, but the audience can't hear it.
Right. It's like, yeah. I found this confusing. Like, I know the show still wants to like hold on to the mystery, but this leads to Bernard becoming Sad Sack Bernard and just like the Charlie Brown music playing while he mopes around.
I
And
totally thought of George Michael from Arrested Development, just head down,
yeah,
slowly walking. Do 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 do.
and he's like, I know why Meadows quit. I quit. And do we need to belabor this? Is it just the poison? Do you have more information you're willing to share, or do we just need to move on and accept the mystery, Tom?
I mean, I don't think there's anything that I would feel comfortable sharing that the show hasn't told us. Because again, I think yes, the idea of this algorithm or whatever being able to poison the whole silo and take out the silo like with the push of a button essentially is a thing from the books. But kind of the way they're going about it or this extra mystery they're adding, I don't quite know what they're getting at. So I'm not going to conjecture and potentially spoil something.
Sure. The algorithm probably told him that the Earth was flat, and now he's just sad because he assumed it was round, and that's what's happening. He Bernard runs into Sims and he's like, Rob, how are you, my old friend? You're now my shadow.
Hooray!
Yeah, what a promotion. An incredible time. And we got a good laugh in this house when Bernard goes, you were very loyal until you weren't.
Classic.
Here's the code and the key. I don't... Listen, I'm all for Sad Sack Bernard. Give me more of it. He gets his go bag. He continues to wander around. He just seems like a guy that's on his way to die. Mm-hmm. We find out in the bag is a gun, and I'm assuming the suit. Those are the two things that he gets to carry around.
Yeah, because they mentioned that like in Silo 17, right, where Juliet thinks she found like the other IT guy's suit. So we know the IT has a backup suit.
Backup suit with the good tape. Lucas goes to see his mom, and his mom is a hospice nurse. And so this only reinforced I think we're all going to die because Lucas is going to see his mom, what feels like for one last time.
Yeah, and again, he says, like the mom asks, like, hey, did you do what you needed to do? And he's like, well, what I needed to do, it didn't need doing. So again, I just don't really understand what this algorithm told him outside of him just getting the knowledge, or it's because he went down there, it kicked off a series of events. I don't quite know.
So his adventure to go down was to save the silo. He kept saying, what I'm doing is more important than the rebellion and everything. It's to save the silo. So then he goes down there and the algorithm's like, hey man, it's all bum luck anyways. We're going to pump poison gas in there. And so he's like, oh, so I can't save the silo. So it's all for naught. And then he climbs a real long ladder, and he's like, man, I hope in heaven there's no ladders, just escalators, because this is for dopes. Yeah, he continues to act like a guy that's going to die. In this situation, do you tell your mom? You're like, hey, mom, guess what? I got some fun news. Instead, he's like, I remember when I was a little boy and your hand was big and my hand was small. And she's like, what are you talking about right now? Like, you're a crazy person.
You always were a weird kid.
He's like, is that the last thing you're going to say to me? She's like, what do you mean last thing? He's like, oh, never mind. Go fish, uno. And then he moves on. This is about the moment where we cut back to the tippy top, and Patrick Kennedy's gang is like, we're going out. It's safe. Let's do it. And this is where Knox and Shirley realize that rebellions are tough to control. And so we get a lot of chaos. I found this a little bit confusing, but it just turns out that everyone loves using tables as weapons, even though we all had like really cool weapons earlier. And then the gunplay comes out, Tom. So before we were like, where are all the guns? In this last, I don't know, 10 minutes, there's so many guns. Everyone has a gun. Sim shows up. He points a gun at Lucas. Lucas is like, you can shoot me. We're all going to die anyways. And his mom was like, excuse me? What was that? And Lucas is like, never mind. That was a secret. Ignore that. And then Bernard pulls out a gun in the tippy top. And he's like, everyone get out. But he keeps one deputy. And I was like, all right, so guns are the answer to most of the problems in this show. Duly noted. We should communicate as couples, and we should all use guns to solve our problems. That's what Silo has taught me.
Thank you, Silo. The more you know.
The more you know. Oh, man. When the mom goes, "Can you put that gun away?" and Sims goes, "I cannot." Just a great line reading. Common and Tim Robbins, just, I mean, incredible. Give them all the daytime Emmys.
I heard somebody talking about Common, and obviously, like, on the internet, there's a lot of love-hate relationship when it comes to Common and his acting in the show, and one of them said a very funny line that I thought was kind of true that you say after he said it, is that Common doesn't really have facial features. He just has, like, one, like, resting, like hard
angry
face.
Yeah.
So when he has to, like, do other emotions, all it just comes across as is angry and intimidating, which I thought is kind of spot on.
Sure. And if you all think that we're insulting Common, no. We love Common. we love Common to death.
More Common.
Common's incredible. I loved when he gave us Watson from IBM. I live for it. All right. Luke, okay. Let's talk about the keychain, Tom. Mm-hmm. So the keychain, we were supposed to think whenever something was going wrong, it would flash and he would go into the vault. Bernard would go into the vault and get a message or get something. And it wasn't lighting up. And so we're supposed to think everything's okay. I was confused by the lighting up, not lighting up. What does this mean?
Well, I think Lucas is just saying, like, if he heard from the algorithm that, hey, we're going to pump poison in your silo, like, then they're not going to be messing with this button anymore. They're not going to make it red. They're not going to tell you to, because seemingly, if it makes it red, it's kind of telling you to go to the vault and then talk to the algorithm. So if it's not lighting up, then the algorithm is done with you.
Sure. Now, would it be weird if in this moment, all of a sudden, every rose has its thorn started being pumped into the silo? Or something to believe in, or talk dirty to me? Tom, these are all Poison songs. So if they were pumping poison into the silo.
What a twist.
And they were like, oh man, these are the jams. And everyone just started rocking out and everything was good. That would be pretty incredible. The algorithm's like, no. When I said poison, I meant the 80s hairband Poison. What did you guys think I meant? And they're like, we don't know. Some sort of worse version, a Poison cover band. Anyways, Lucas is like, listen, now that you're the Shadow, he's like, congratulations, by the way. Go to the vault, check out the legacy, and Common like accepts that and makes his face and walks out. So much slow walking for people that are about to die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he like essentially even tells him like, while you still have time to do it, go to the vault. So yeah.
As soon as the show cuts, but as soon as Common walks out of the room, Lucas's mom is definitely like, "Hey, I happen to notice you keep saying things like, while you still have time. Shoot me. It doesn't matter anyways. Would you like to tell me something?
Expand on that, please."
Oh, man. There's more rebellion happening up top, and then the rebellion is quelched, Tom. Squelched? Wait, we're
Squinched.
We're brought to you by Squinched, Diet Squinch. If you're looking for no sugar and a slight taste of water, Squinch. Water flavored. All right.
Not poisonous.
Not poisonous. But oddly enough, Poison does have a song about squelch. It's really not safe for children. That's all I'll say. All right. So Juliet's on screen. She comes over the hill. Everyone stops. Everyone cheers. She's alive. And she cleans furiously, which I was like, okay. It's been a long time since cleaning has been a thing, so it did take me a beat to be like, why is she wiping the lens? But I realize it's more symbolic than necessary.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then she holds up a sign, and the sign says, "Not safe, don't come out." And I was like, Not much. I mean, the rebellion could pretty much interpret that at face value. If this was the internet and Reddit, they would take that and be like, was she being forced to say that? But this is the real world of the silo, so they accept that her words are true.
Well, my wife made a comment like, man, she really showed that very quickly. I would have maybe kept that on screen for like at least like a couple more seconds, just in case, make sure everybody saw it.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's fair. This leads to a hatch prying moment, which lovely. I love whenever a crowbar gets used. It's always fun.
This is an interesting plan because these are pretty big bay doors. So to get this open with a pry bar was going to be a challenge.
Yep, that's true. But she doesn't have to because the door opens and out comes our guy Bernard, and he's got a gun and a suit. And it's not like a James Bond suit. It's like a go outside of the silo suit. Before we get to this dramatic moment, they do a quick cut of Sims, Camille, and their son in the vault. And now the algorithm is talking in the vault. We've only seen the algorithm in the down, down, deep. Why would you have to go to the tunnel at the bottom in order to talk to the algorithm when the algorithm will talk to you in the vault? Tom, my question is for you.
We did technically hear the algorithm speak. We just thought it was just the computer program or something like that just checked Lucas in, right? Because when Bernard first takes Lucas there, Lucas says his name out loud, and then like the computer says like you are now the shadow, or we put you in the system or something like that. So we have heard the computer actually talk. I think I could be wrong here.
But why does he have to make a journey to the bottom to talk to it? Is it?
I think it's just the discovery of the tunnel, like because
the
people
tunnel
just don't
where
know
the
the tunnel
poison
exists.
comes in?
No, the poison comes in from level 14,
14.
somewhere in IT, right? Because they just figured that out in Silo 17. So we still don't know what the tunnel is. Like, where does it lead?
No. They mentioned it in this. They mentioned what the tunnel's for in this episode. Tom, you go ahead and say what the tunnel's for.
I was gonna say it like could clearly potentially connect these silos in some form or fashion, and then maybe if they use them, then they would use the protocol or whatever to gas everybody. I don't know.
You read the books. Are you pretending like you don't know, or do you truly not know?
The tunnels are not in the books.
No. Oh, the tunnel leads to the mine. That's what it is. We solved it. Good job. Okay. The algorithm's like, there's no such thing as a mine. Go back to the tippy top. And Lucas is like, Lucas is so sad because he wanted to go to the mine, and that's why he's moping around. Anyways, I got off topic, Tom, as one is prone to do. The algorithm's like, hey, nice to meet you, Rob Sims and Anthony Sims. Please leave. I want to talk to Camille. Why? What was this? Is he not worthy? What was happening here?
I have no idea either. Again, some of the stuff is not from the book, so I'm not even sure.
Conjecture, my friend. Let's talk. What do you think?
I don't know. Like, I mean, the idea of the algorithm, if it really is some sort of computer AI or something, and it's been watching the whole time, then it knows a lot about Camille, knows a lot about Robert. So the algorithm's decision to talk to just Camille, and I don't know if it's like, does the algorithm just want a quick word, or is it want Camille to be the new head of IT? Like, I don't know what to make of it outside of it just being another fun mystery, and we got to wait for season 3 to see what happens.
It's like oddly polite. It's like, hey, Rob, Anthony, thanks. I'm just quick word with Camille, just outside. She'll be with you in just a moment. Hey, thank you. Hey, love that jacket. Love that facial expression. Anthony, you look just like your mom. You look great. I'm the algorithm. Anyways, let's go back. Bernard's got a gun and a suit, and he's pointing it at Juliet. She's like, why'd you show up with a gun? And it's like, a lot's happened since you've been gone. So, yeah, the gun's necessary.
But he just wants to get out, right? Like, what he essentially tells her is that I want 1 ounce of freedom, like, or to feel free. And he's bringing the gun as a last resort if he runs out of air, or whatever the outside world gets to him.
Sure, that's fair. They all of a sudden talk about their favorite band, Poison, and how it can be pumped into the silo. And there's a conversation where she says, I know it can happen. I don't know the who and the why. And I believe he says, I know the who and I don't care about the why.
I think it's the opposite. I think he says he knows the who, but he doesn't know the why. Like, he doesn't know why they're doing it to us.
Okay, that's what I meant to say. So, Tom, who's the who? Oh, they pump poison in, and then they also sometimes pump in the who. I get it. Wow. All right, this is just all music stuff. I'm on board. Makes sense.
Incredible.
Who's the who, Tom?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, if I think from Bernard's perspective, he just thinks it's the algorithm. Like, I don't know if he knows more than that.
Okay. All right. Well, they go in. The door starts to close, and they immediately jump in, and then they realize it's a fire room, which is the name of the episode. How did they know they weren't going to get caught in fire? The name of the episode's literally Into the Fire. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. But I mean, Juliet goes into this room with a fire suit, right? So,
Oh, Tom, look at you. I thought it was a fire sale. Instead, it's a fire suit.
made it too real.
Too real. All right, so and then hard cut, and I was like, they killed her. They killed them both. They killed them. They're all dead. And then a TV show started playing, and I kid you not, Tom, I was like, oh, Apple just rolled into a different show. I was like,
It's Severance now.
yeah, I paused it. I was like, wait, no, okay, we're still in it. So then, the mystery of it all. We're in modern times in Washington. They show the Capitol. I thought maybe we're in modern times, but I realized it was just an old like political cartoon on the wall because it had Nixon.
Mm-hmm.
And then these two people are talking about where were you when it happened? Kind of like people would have the conversation about when someone gets assassinated or when 9/11 happened. So you get the sense that they're cleverly writing around a tragedy. We find out that the guy is a Georgia congressman from the 15th, and she is a reporter. They talk about a dirty bomb, and it was a strike from Iran, but they're questioning whether or not it actually happened. Tom, I literally watched this scene an hour ago. I have had no chance to really give it much thought. What was happening here and why?
Yeah, no. So this was fun because this is kind of where they pick up in the second book where they do some of this, I mean, kind of flashback of the people that potentially put the silo together and the events that kind of happened leading up to it.
Oh, okay. So this is a before the silo time. This isn't
Yeah.
like the silos just happening somewhere else in conjunction. All right.
And I say that because, yeah, obviously he ends the scene by giving her the Pez dispenser, right? And it's brand new. Would seem like an odd gift, but he makes that comment about her being from Oregon, so it's a duck. She was an Oregon duck or whatever. But yeah,
I don't think she gave him a chance. I feel like he seemed like a pretty nice dude. Very thoughtful gift. I mean,
Well, it wasn't her. He walked out, right? Like, once he realized that she was a reporter and there for asking questions, he wasn't hanging around.
I feel like their love story's not done, Tom. I think it's one of the greatest love stories. And
Yeah.
Did we find out either of these people's names?
I think we know her name is Helen. I don't know if we got the name of the congressman here yet, but I'm super excited because I love like the little cliffhanger here of it really now expanding the world again, just like it did in the cliffhanger for season 1, with Juliet leaving the silo. Now we're kind of realizing, okay, it's not just going to be stuck in this silo for next season. Like maybe we're going to get some backstory and maybe some reasonings as to why the silo exists in the first place. Like obviously kind of throws some hints about dirty bomb, strikes with Iran. I think she even says it's like a radiological attack, which would kind of maybe make some sense about the world out of the silos in kind of present day. So just super fun, and I'm glad they introduced it here as a teaser for next season.
It was a cool little wrinkle. I gotta be honest. It was almost too smart. So those of us that are slightly dumb got confused. I'm sure if I watched it again, maybe I'd pick up on more. But I appreciate you explaining that to me because, yeah, the Pez dispenser helps understand timeline because I was like, oh, if a radiological attack already happened, maybe these silos are somewhere else. But what you've said makes more sense than what my brain put together. So,
Yeah.
Tom, I appreciate your sleuthing.
I mean, even as somebody that kind of knew some of this backstory stuff and where I think they're going with it, I was still kind of confused by the banter, and I thought the banter almost went on too long because, like, it was such a cool reveal when they go to modern times, and now we're just in a bar in the silo show. But they took a while for these characters to kind of have this back and forth. I think this probably could have been shot a little bit better to be more clear as well. But I do like the ending with the Pez dispenser is fun.
He should have, without context, she should have been sitting in the booth. He should have run in, thrown the Pez dispenser at her face, and run out, and then hard cut. Well,
We should build silos.
Silos are the future. Pegs her with the Pez dispenser. She gets a moment to look at the Pez dispenser, sees it's a duck. Hard cut. Produced by Dick Wolf. Like, I mean, just incredible. This is why Hollywood reach out. We've got thoughts.
Love it.
I've enjoyed this. There was a lull in the middle. I enjoyed the front end. I enjoyed the back end. I'm excited for 2 more seasons of this show. Whether or not we will still talk about it and be here, that depends on Iran and whether or not those silos get built in time, I guess. But Tom, I appreciate you giving us some book knowledge and explaining the smart things to a dumb person. Tom, is there anything you'd like to add before we close out Silo Season 2?
No, I mean, again, I think it's been super fun, and I couldn't agree more with you. I think it started strong. There was a lot of pacing issues that I'm hoping they're going to take some feedback from the internet and some smart people, because I do think they could have tightened quite a bit of it up, and they didn't need to do probably full 10 episodes for the story they were trying to tell here. So I'm hoping they kind of tighten it up a little bit for the next season. But I do just want to take a quick second to just thank all the people that played along with us and were on social media kind of reaching out to us. It was a lot of fun. It seemed like we got quite a few new listeners, and we really do appreciate you. So I'll just kind of list off a couple names that had been proactive throughout the season. We had Tasha's mom, Grandmaster T, Dexter Morgan, Matt Chavez, Matt Rez, Nicolette, Eberton, Corey Maddie, Wynn. I'm not even going to try your last name because I can't pronounce it. But just again, some of the people that had reached out and participated with us. We greatly appreciate it, and thank you all for listening.
You're all honorary Raiders. Those are the bad guys. Good job. Thank you for joining us. You can reach out to us at teambingepodcast@gmail.com. It's been fun to hear from people. You can also reach us on various social media platforms. I have a Poison cover band where I play all the instruments and sing. It's on pure volume. You can find
What's your band name?
Julian's Poison.
Clever.
And yeah. Julian's Been Poisoned, actually, is a better name. Tom, what I forget? Go ahead.
Follow us on the socials. We had a big back catalog too, so feel free if you enjoyed our listening here. We've started this whole thing out by doing Ted Lasso. Had a lot of fun with those 3 seasons, and have done a handful of other Apple shows. We're still kind of thinking about what to potentially do next, so if there's anything you want us to watch or something new coming out, please let us know, and we'll definitely consider it. But again, thank you all so very much for listening in, and can't wait for next season, my man.
Yeah. You too, Tom. It's been a joy for Team Binge. I have been Julian.
And I have been Tom. Till next season, everybody.